So what was we talking about? Oh yes, that's it. I remember now. So we were talking about God and devil, yes,
Yeah.
or Gabriel, fallen angel, or anything else like that.
Yeah.
And you would think that if we look at the Egyptian gods, yes, or any others that have a lot of gods, yes,
Yeah.
more than one way of understanding that. It depends on what a god is. In your definition of it. And then I ask you, do you think a god bows down to anything?
I thought it didn't.
You thought it didn't.
Yeah. But then, or I
You don't think so? You think that...
I thought that God was supposed to be the highest thing, highest whatever it is. But then again, I am not a very godly person. So.
Interesting. Okay, so that's the understanding.
Yeah.
Then, yeah. So
That's the main understanding, isn't it? Like, no, people think that.
I don't think so.
No, people don't think that.
No, I think that people think that, but for me personally, I do not see that.
Yeah.
That's not what I understand it. I understand it as a god being an oldest vessel that makes it beyond. That has a particular flair, a particular... And then this could mean it in many ways, right? So if we label ourselves as just understanding... let's say you meet other life forms. Do you never think that they're not going to have their own belief system of a god or gods?
Yeah.
Okay? Now we fast forward into the future then, okay? This is where you'd have to go with that. Who's God now? Their understanding or your understanding?
Why?
Being collected on a planet. Are you free to believe anything?
Yeah.
Do you think so? Okay, I
Well,
would like
if
to
I don't
start a
tell-
new religion
yeah.
then, yes?
Yeah, if I don't tell anyone, I
And
can.
then is it technically a new religion, or is it an old religion, or is it a religion that's been in plain sight all this time, but you don't really see it? And then could this cause disruption to any other religion that is in existence? Well, yes,
Yeah,
it's going to
yeah.
rock the status quo.
Yeah.
And then when you look at religious understanding of one particular type to another particular type to another particular type, they're what are currently in existence right now. And then if we look at the opposite side to that, which you would then say devil or Lucifer or Gabriel, and then there was more than one fallen angel, I believe, and we then look at that structure for a second. What are they fighting over?
Power? I don't know, really.
Power.
I don't know.
What is it? No, it's no right or wrong. It's okay to have any suggestion that you want. There's only me and you
Yeah.
talking about this subject right now. Perhaps other people on the planet are talking about it, but I doubt it. But again, so I'm only limited because I don't have a wide audience base. Not that I really. But again, it would be nice to get a take back from that in order to be able to sort of... But that won't happen because there's too many... Do you ever find that humanity likes to put furniture in a place and keep it there?
Yeah.
Regardless of whether it was correct or not, the fact is that particular person is going to stay there for that particular reason. This narrative is going to be said about that person, even if anything else beyond that is true or not.
Yeah.
It's going to stay there. Why? Because that's what we do.
Yeah. And it takes centuries and millennia to get another religion.
I mean,
going
only in
on.
recent times people are pulling down statues because of the opposite is to be true of what has been written about them.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
So we notice that this happens, yeah? So that's not something that is a conspiracy theory. This is fact.
Yeah.
And I'll say that back at the time that was acceptable, back at this time that was acceptable, and back at that time this was it, and so forth and so on. But yet, when we look at other religions that were about before the religions that are standing today, they had a very different belief system again. And now ask yourself the question again on your own biome, which is the correct one? Well, this one, because this one survived, and this is what this... Well, for me, it's all. I can't accept this whole devil stuff unless you're going to dress it up that this is another type of God, a way of doing things, but in the negative. When I look at the universe and what I happen to know to be true, whether that is something that people will say is your belief, again, that is what I know. That is something that emanates within. Isn't it true to say that religion comes from within, not something that you can find on the outside? You can look at the outside and think, oh, this stuff, that stuff, this stuff, this stuff, this stuff. But again, where did you come up with that idea of God?
Yeah. From inside. Yeah, thinking about it, thinking what is above, what is great, how did you come here, where does all the stuff come from?
So if you want to ask the question of if it's true, what drove humans to build pyramids? What drove humans to make the pyramids for the Mayans? What drove humans to make the statues on Inca Island?
Yeah.
None of this stuff existed. Well, as far as you know, back then, different lands. But still, again, where did this come from? Where did this creativity come from? You're going to tell me that they all went to a school, studied at a university somewhere, all went through this education system, and that's what they managed to create out of all of that, because it was engineering and everything else. No.
No, and all the menhirs around the
And then you go back even
and-
further than that.
yeah.
And you start to notice this pattern emerging. Where do you think everything that humans do now come from? Well, it came from within. Like it or not, something is guiding humanity to do some of the most unimaginable things. To create some of the most monumental structures. Creativity. Human lack of understanding, lack of knowing, lack of going within, and shutting all of this out create the most amount of destruction you have ever seen. Humans that don't go within create a world that is carnage. And then you'll say, that's because we're led by this devil thing. Well, it's a good excuse, but it isn't good enough for why you didn't go within. That's your soul, though. You don't sell your soul by going and getting some money and signing this signature here. That's not how you sell your soul. The individuals that go within and start to bring out versus the individuals that do not and then attack the ones that do, that's selling your soul. And there's this non-existence, and people will say, yeah, but energy can't be created nor destroyed. It can only be transformed. You know what? Do you know what? That's a funny thing, that is, isn't it? Because that's what led us on to the next bit, which you see the next question, which is fascinating to have it. If you're allowed it in a world where apparently you're allowed to question anything, which you're not. So let me question it and break it down. You know yourself as a particular person that happens to have a name after a place called Petra. Or name shame your last name. In this, you can be anybody. You can even be the place. But you know yourself as a particular identity. Now, you exist as this person called Petra that does this. Now, what makes you up now? And all of the things that you know. let's say you ever meet the higher power,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and this would be above God.
Yeah.
This would be above satanic Gabriel being another person, probably waiting for the same thing that God would be waiting for.
Yeah.
But a collective of individuals nonetheless. Now, I don't believe in this satanic thing. I believe that humans that don't go within enough, I think that they get a little bit led astray, and it's an excuse. This, in a way, I can tell it's to be an excuse basis. And there's an awful lot on the other side is when I look at where everything has come from that humans have ever built.
Yeah.
And then I look at this on other beings have ever created and what they've ever created. They followed something, this intelligent, raw pattern, the very essence. They've gone within and they've come out. They've gone within and they've come out. They've gone within and they begin to come out, in versus out. So let's say we create this whole man's world. It's not true. There is no such thing as a man's world. You know, if you want to look at it as men being men, they're actually not. You all come from hermaphrodites. Every single one of you. You ever wondered why cats have nipples? You ever wondered why males have them? Do you ever wonder why males are born or start out in the journey process as female? Just because times have gone to the point of now where there is the establishment for you to be able to be either or, in the beginning, that wasn't such a luxury. There was less of you. You would have to have been hermaphrodites in order to keep life forms going. At the end of the day, you are not given life, you evolve into it. It takes hold and then you're guided. Something knows better than what you do yourself. And with the amount of times this has cycled, not quite the same, but always along a certain baseline. There is a reason behind it all. Whether you want to admit that or not, accept it as life being a dead-end job, get qualified, live, work, then die. And that's it. If that's what you think life is, and that afterwards there is nothing, fair dues. Not quite. And in the beginning, there's a knowing that is way beyond anything that humans have ever done. Well, what's the maximum of humans ever done? Built robots, built this, built this, built... They can't build life. Well, we can do it in a test tube. That's not the same thing, and you know it. You are not aware of mapping out your life. Something else is aware of doing this, and it started it off before your awareness came. What came first? The awareness and the life form being built by something else's hands, not your own, not humans. Most certainly not any of your leaders that sit in their high places.
Yeah.
So before I take any advice from any sort of being like that that would want to hold on to the way certain things are without ever changing anything, you've got to get through an awful lot of belief system. And my word, is it something. It was in control of you, not fully in controlling you, not fully overriding you, because there is a purpose behind this, a sorting process. Hell, it doesn't care about how many times you spend pissing on a toilet seat. It cares more so when you start to learn to pick that toilet seat up before you piss. There's a difference. Fuck it up 90% of your life, but then you pick up the toilet seat. That's worth attention. You can sit there selling your soul away into nothingness until you realise that there is a toilet seat for you to pick up. If men think that they're so much more fucking better than a female, got news for you guys. You are part. You're only separate because life has evolved to be. But back in the time, I know that you will not work in a biome beyond this. If you can't even accept females on your own planet, and that you think that somehow you're more better than them, without ever taking that responsibility, it's not everyone, but it's a large amount of people, concerning number of individuals actually, because you're so freaking macho, it's unbelievable, interesting. Then an afterlife for you is not it. In fact, I happen to know that it wouldn't suit you. You could already know this yourself. Let's think about it. Let's say there were hermaphrodites, older life forms than anything that you ever understand in your manistic now experience. That there were hermaphrodites. What are you going to do? There'd be no acceptance, would there? And therefore, why would we disrupt that order? That's countless beings, and let's say they made it before you did.
Yeah.
Somewhat had a bit more of a better understanding. Life evolves on, and look at what happens. Look at the way it shifts.
Yeah.
Because you believe something doesn't mean it's true, just means that you've never gone inward and looked at that. Well, I have nipples because of this reason. When we do the maths here and we look at it for what it is, it's more, life would more take hold if there was more milk being production and more teats available for milk. After all, tits are not something that you want to have a good look at whilst you're poking the fire. It's not all about sex and everything else. It's really not. No, it's got nothing to do with it, really, because you've changed it in this world and this mindset that that's what tits are for. Something to ogle over, something to grab, something to do this, something to run. You know, it's just something that was created for you because you're a man. Close. Not close enough, though. No, these are for guaranteeing that life goes on. Ensuring that the next generation go on. That's the design. But if you have more of these, utilized on man and women, and on any species, take it whether it be a cat, a rabbit, it doesn't matter. If the male could produce milk too, as well as the female, if something happened to the female, the male could still take over. Hard to understand that, isn't it? There would be a knowing happen on both sides of conception that would trigger the milk production on both sides. If you were both hermaphrodites, there's guaranteed of populating even more so in times when it was more uphill struggle to even do so.
Yeah.
Life's barely clinging.
Yeah.
And it is not guaranteed that it's going to go on.
Yeah.
It defies the odds though, doesn't it? Working with the creator, you would say, which would be a god, not working with the intelligence, which is interesting to me. And then it begins to separate as that purpose is fully exhausted. So we must have a heaven up there where there's a god man and a female somewhere and takes after the female. Oh, now we got a hermaphrodite as well. Okay, right, all right. And there can be no acceptance, really, is there? Apparently not. Because it's got to be a man's world. It's got to be this. It's got to be that.
Yeah.
And you believe in nothing. But that's fine. You believe that muscles are there for looking good. Oh, yeah, it's how I attract a female. It's not true. Take a look around at the animal kingdom. Just take a good look around.
Yeah, who's muscular like that? No one.
Well,
no
as
animal.
long as you get the saying going over the narrator telling you what's happening as he looks at the mate and she looks at him. She sees him dancing around. Okay, that's one version of something that's going on, but it ain't across the board.
Yeah.
About impressing and doing this and doing that. I don't think so.
That's repulsive.
By and large, there's an awful lot of different ways of this happening, and it is not all of it is courting.
Yeah.
and they then begin to fight each other before they have a mate, and it's the winner wins on, and this is impressive. That is not true. That is true to a few, but not all of them, when it comes to the close to the end of season. That would show that the numbers are changing. Do you really think humans being intelligent out away from this animalistic instinct are going to be worrying that when the population starts shrinking, it's going to be about who's got the best muscles?
No.
Who's got the biggest jugs, right?
No.
Who looks the most blondest of them all?
No.
Or are you going to be more worrying about something else as, oh shit, if we don't start breeding and we don't let go of our fussiness, we're going to go extinct. Because you are intelligent, right? You'll know this, won't you? I'm sure you will know it. The education will teach you it, won't it? Or carry on being fun. Nah, she's not my type. Nah, he's not my type. Nah, oh gosh, you know. You don't fit neat enough inside a box for me. Yeah, but you're facing extinction. I don't really give a shit. And then, let's say you meet a higher power, and you are aware that there is more than just this. And then you meet that divine force, the intelligence, which you will understand it. Why did you let the whole of your existence disappear? Oh, because that person weren't right enough for me. Oh, this person wasn't good enough for me.
That sounds silly.
You let the whole thing end down for that. Nah. Oh, that's alright. I'm intelligent enough to know that energy can't be created nor destroyed. It can only be transformed. So this intelligently divine force has got to accept me. Wrong again. Wrong again. Well, yeah, but, you know, how could it make me here on this earth? And scientists say that when I die, that a bit of me gets captured over there, but my body stays behind and all of this sort of stuff. Yeah, but by and large, again, the universal intelligence knows how to recreate you anywhere. It doesn't need this shit from the earth. These ingredients that mixed you here can be mixed over there. And mixed over there, and mixed over there. Hell, does it even need to be mixed in this biome? It can be mixed in any of them. But that universal intelligence that it knows, because you helped it understand that you made it and it made you. You understand that. So, it made you, gave you a piece of what it is, the very essence of what it is. And you shaped this over your journey. You have taught it how to make that version of you out of it. You've wore its skin. You have taught it. And you mean to tell me that it could never do this anywhere else?
Why not? Why not?
Well, because it's a belief, right? Because scientists didn't find it.
Because it was written like that.
Well, yeah, because it's written
somewhere
that
in a
when
book.
you die, and that's it. That's the end, you know, because we didn't see anything, you know, the planet didn't get lighter. Are you for real? Yeah, but reincarnation. Keep going.
Reincarnation is not in all religions, so suddenly someone is reaching into different religions.
So reincarnation, but lacking of that intelligent spark. Well, perhaps it has an intelligent spark, but not in the same way that created you again.
Yeah.
Not here. Most certainly. Well, I look like one of my generations through the generation. Yeah, but not the same. Or maybe I'm tapping into it. Maybe. Or maybe it's around you, but you can't see it, but it's guiding you. Because it made it. It wove that intelligent essence so well that whatever that came from was like, you know what? I really want some of this, but I don't want any of this. Well, why do you not want any of that? Not what I'm looking for. What is it that you're looking for? Well, wouldn't that be too easy, wouldn't it? You'd have so many people fake it, wouldn't you? Well, look at it. Everyone fakes it. Can't make it, fake it. Look at it. Any means necessary, they'll fake it. But you can't. It knows. Steal a ship. You notice that? I made this, I made this, I made this. Oh, but you know as well as I do, that's not true. You can bullshit other humans. Well, you can try. Is that really true, though? Try and bullshit the overall intelligence. Yeah, off you go. Good luck with that. Let me know. No, don't actually. I'll already know. I'll be updated on that. Don't you worry. How does it go? You can't bullshit it. So I asked you to be you now. Again. And I'm going to ask you a very interesting question. To be you as you are now. Pause now. And you be like this forever. That's one option that I can offer you right now, clearly. Another option would be to be something that goes in this recreation and destruction, but knowing that you will always be, so to speak, resurrected. The very essence, don't worry, you'll go through again. Did you enjoy the whole growing process? From young to adult? If you could do that repeatedly, would you? Guaranteed knowing that your essence will be put into you again. Perhaps you'll get it more at a younger age. Now, what is the difference between you knowing all of what you know right now to be captured, condensed, and put into your adolescent version of you, and then you grow with that knowledge? What do you think you would do? What more could you achieve? You'd condense your data. And then each time you got to adultness, let's say, and then the body starts to wear down, you will know that you will be captured again, and that essence of you will be recreated in the same you again. Perhaps as you get a little bit more and more knowledge starts to come, and it'll grow with you. If you were given more time to. If you were able to remember that core essence of what you are. So that you could continue weaving that raw intelligence of yours. Condensing it. What's the one biggest thing that people always say but never question why they say it? If only I knew then what I know now. Do you know how true that is? Do you know what that means? You would be a different person. Think about it. If I could capture everything that you know now, that you have learned over your, let's say, 50 years for argument's sake, and I could take that from you, which the universe would hold that and pause it or suspend it. After all, you have taken a piece of it. It has been put into you. You have taught it over these 50 years, that very essence that made you. It's somewhat different to what that is. You are not that, but you are this. It knows how to make that anytime, anywhere. Then your vessel is recycled again. You are born, in essence, but in a very different way of what born is understood. On the earth, it comes this way. But in the universal understanding, well, you can skip a few of your younger days. Let's say, creates you at, I don't know, when that awareness first started entering in. Around about 5 for you, wasn't it? 5 to 6 you then started to remember you will become aware of your own existence? Was it around 5 to 6 years old, maybe even 4, 5, 6?
Around,
When you just
probably
snapped
around
in.
4.
So 4, give or take, then, yeah.
Maybe, yeah. When
So
going
it
to
became a bit
kindergarten.
more established when you was about 5, and a little bit more advanced when you were 6, and then it grew from there.
Yeah.
That's when you become aware.
Yeah.
You weren't taught it. You became it.
Mm-hmm.
You became aware of what you are. There are many layers to this awareness, by the way. That's one version of it. So you go from baby as being in suspended animation, whether this vessel is going to support.
Yeah.
Then you become aware of your essence. You become aware of your awareness. You become aware of your intelligence. You become aware of the world. You become aware. And what do we say when we become aware? You start to remember. There was a moment where you couldn't really remember much.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, there became this remembering, almost like a pulse.
Mm-hmm.
And there seems to be a blockade from before that.
Yeah.
And then this, and it comes very quickly, doesn't it? It's almost like someone lit a candle inside you. And it began burning. And then you became aware of this burning. This was not taught to you. This is nothing that the world gives to you. This is a gift. It's a very sacred gift. And it was given to you. And then from X amount of time to, let's say, 50, you have been developing it.
Yeah.
Now, let's say that death happens when you're 50.
Okay.
But that captured essence of you is impressed enough
Yeah.
that, again, you now go back to that sort of age. So let's say, we'll say around 6 was when you become a few years worth of, you were a bit more developed in this awareness.
Yeah.
In that time, is a stage, you are more aware than you've ever been, but it sort of grows, peaks, and sticks, and then it excels from there. The candle gets going, but you know as well as I do, when you first light a candle, the flame goes very small first.
Yeah.
And then, after a few minutes, the candle is well established.
Yeah.
Time is on. This becomes this developing. So let's say that when you're 6, everything that you've known now from 50 years old is put into your awareness, filled, and now you're 7. 6, 7, 8, 9. What do you reckon you could do with that info?
Much more.
Well, let's say if you knew what you know now, but you could know it from the ages of, say, 6 years old, but 7. And then you carry on growing with that extra awareness. Then what? Well, immediately things are going to shift. Your relationship understanding is going to be far advanced. But if you were around, you'd have to be around people who were experiencing this awareness at the same time. Because if you were with someone that has had an awareness for thousands of years, they're going to appear a lot older to you.
Yeah.
Bit more condensed. Do you see the difference in the layers, the different sections? Doesn't mean that you can't meet. It's fascinating because they can teach you a lot quicker, but at a certain time. They can help you get places a lot quicker because they've been around a lot longer. So there are the do's and the don'ts. Always a learning journey. You've got to love learning. So let's say if you've had this collection and doing for over 1,000 years or 1,000 cycles worth of this, of 50 years, so 1,000 times 50. And if I was to make you aware of yourself at that versus this, there would be an awful lot that you would teach yourself, yes?
Yeah.
But if you had somebody else that was in that, they would also be able to teach you a lot more. Yes?
Yeah.
Teach you because you're going to grow again and again and again and again. And then you begin to condense the data that you've already learned. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
You have to have a reason behind it, though. And then there could be more things that you've learned. You've learned next level of this universal intelligence. This would be very aware to you.
Yeah.
You would never think of death ever again. It wouldn't worry you. The loss of family members would never worry you. This is what collective means. This is collective. There are different levels with intelligence in this because the condensing process has started. But if you honestly think that there's going to be some type of satanic space for this shit, you are very much mistaken. But there's also likewise that if you were this vessel and you've been doing this evil shit for say 90 years, that will go back into the combined intelligence and it will not make that again. There is no need for it to. What made up your body and your understanding in this part will go on to just be no more than just elements on a planet, lost in the noise of all the others. You honestly think that there's going to be a biome for this? No. Because it's very interesting. That you can calculate. This intelligence condensing, that's not so easy to calculate. Where does it go? Well, think about it. Don't you think that that condensing of that intelligence can just push the envelope? This in evil and destructiveness, where do you think it goes? Okay, let me give you another example. Satanicness is soul sacrifice. Wars and battles, where do you think it leads to? Well, think about it. If everyone carried on going to battle, where does it go?
Destruction.
Extinction, right? That ends. What about if you carry on destroying the biome that you live on? Where does it go? With this selfish nature, where does it go? It causes depression, it causes destruction, it causes absolute horribleness way of living. It causes unfairness. Where does it go? It destroys itself. It destroys the very thing that it walks on. It's self-centered. There are small numbers, and the small numbers in the chances of the overall grand scheme of things, any disaster comes up when you're in a small number. What happens? Life wiped out. It's calculated. This can be calculated very easily. That is a choice. That is an observed choice that people make because they feel that they are superior. That's with a little bit. With a little. Look at what they can do. Look how destructive they become. You really think that they're entitled to a lot? With that, you can already calculate what's going to happen. That is calculated. You can calculate it. It doesn't turn out to anything good. But with this, how much more further can it go? Where does the envelope push onto? What more understanding, not only about yourself, but it's a selfless act, isn't it, really, to be intelligent, get intelligence, what you can remember, what it can remember about you, what you teach it. This is beautiful. That's harmony. Selfless, inspiring, creative. What more can you do if you had more time? What more beautiful stuff could you actually achieve? How could you then work with nature to create it more and become more knowing about itself, but with your knowing, which then could be put into the universal intelligence again, which it knows, then when it knows, can it not create a more better established plant? More established, better human? More established, better animal? Planet? Biome? Which then, how does this change the life that could reside in it? It means it could live longer. It means it could achieve more. What, to blow itself up? To destroy itself? Honestly. No, you would be much better as just the elements that bind it all together, and your vessel doesn't come again. There's no place for that. That place is here, and once it's done, candle gets blown out, and that's it. There ain't no point even being aware of your own existence in that. But everything else can be aware of that. That would need to be aware of that. And then, would you prefer an existence like that or this? And then, which one would you wholeheartedly trust more? I mean, come on, if you had to compare both,
Yeah.
take your best leader, take your best civilization here and compare it to that. I know what you know because I feel the same thing. Where would your loyalty be? Mine would be with this,
Yeah.
not this. That's where I would be at. Anyway, I can see that you're burning out of energy, and this for me is charging me up quite a lot. It really does. Again, stealership, demoralizing, depression, anxiety, even life forms would take their own lives. Whereas before they used to fear it.
Yeah.
Could be walked into a noose by being called a coward. Nowadays, you don't even need to call people a coward, they just walk straight into it. This toxicity, the destruction of everything.
Yeah.
You tell me. It's a numbers game, and it's then they pick and choose who's worthy, not based on brains, not based on brawn, not based on this, no. Based on title. Are you kidding me? Because title and this way it's much more easier to get rid of you lot than it is to actually create anything. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. No. Terrible. Well, there is light at the end of the tunnel, but it's not a tunnel.
It's good if there is light.
Yeah. Blind faith is what that is. And look at what civilizations that have listened to it. Look at what they have managed. Okay, minus the noise. You can't appease this sacrifice, whatever it may be. This is not going to appease it. There is a high level of understanding as to why you do certain things.
Yeah.
But to have this information and know this information and to still continue to do it, that's when it becomes a situation.
Yeah.
You don't need to ask anyone, well, what do you think if there was a higher power? You don't need to ask that question. Just look. The higher power is all around and within everything.
Yeah.
Just look. It doesn't beg, doesn't demand. It doesn't even ask of you very much. Just notice it. So, do you see why it doesn't need to come here in order to deal with this? It catches what comes afterwards.
It sees everything, doesn't it?
It gets what needs to be got. It captures and cradles what needs to be cradled.
What creates future? What goes on with creation?
Its attention will be on a mutual.
Yeah.
Because of where its attention is, it doesn't need to sweat this. And that's where you have faith. That's why it's so unshakable. Pray. Not really. Go within.
Yeah.
It's within everybody. why is it so hidden? Have you seen the responsibility? Just by knowing a little, look at the way they act. That's with a little.
Like they know everything and they
But
know
that
the
isn't knowing
best.
within themselves. That is knowing with my, hang on a second, this person here, that group over there, that group over there. That's calculated. That's not. That is nothing. That is sneaky. Again, the take. And then translate that as that's me in this place because of this reason, because of that. Okay, fair enough. No. Anyway, let's leave this one here. And I appreciate the talk. I know it's a lot on the spot. I understand that. I really do. I appreciate that. Look within.
Yeah.
It's all there.